Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a Disney layout. This layout is kind of the end of our Disney California experience as we transitioned from Disney California into Disneyland. We had decided that we wanted to see Fantasmic on the Saturday night of our trip. And so we, or I beg your pardon, Friday night of our trip. And so we left Disney California a little early with the intention of going over to Disneyland and finding a good spot for Fantasmic and then just kind of relaxing, getting some dinner and holding our spot. So that's kind of where we were headed with these two layouts. But yeah, this is just a transition from going from Disney California into Disneyland, and let's check out the layout. I think it's going to turn out pretty cute. It is fairly simple. Should go pretty quickly. So let's check out my workspace and get started. Okay, this is my workspace for today. I was just noticing that the glare is kind of not very nice. So I apologize for that, but I went ahead and when I pick it up and put it on the angle like this, it seems like it's better. So it's just because the pictures are on there, and pictures are glossy, and so they tend to have a reflection. So anyway, and you can actually see my daughters, or maybe that's me. No. I actually think that's my daughter's reflection in the photo right here, but anyway, that's not what's happening right now. We are going to continue our Disney pages for one more Disney page, and I think this might be the last one well, I know it's the last one for October. I think we have a couple more Disney ones that are coming up in November, but I'm really trying to focus on getting the Hawaii series wrapped up so that I can start Ireland at the beginning of the year. So we're going to be rather focused on getting Oahu completed over the next few days, and hopefully you won't mind seeing a lot of that, but I am gonna get us to the point where we are ready for Fantasmic, I think is the part where I break, and then we'll pick that up in January. This particular layout for today is going to focus on, photograph-wise, is going to focus on our transition from Disney California back into Disneyland, as we decided to spend the majority of our Saturday in Disney California, but then in the evening, late in the afternoon, we decided to go ahead and go back into Disneyland. So we took a group picture in front of the Ferris wheel in the lagoon, and then we took some pictures at the very front of Disneyland because we had not done that as yet, even though we'd been there for a little over a day and a half. And so we took a minute and took some pictures there at the front of that iconic backdrop with the Mickey in the against the bank and the railroad station behind. So anyway, those are the photos that are going to go on these pages. And I have these 3 sheets that we're going to use today. These come from, I believe, mostly from Sparks of Magic, and maybe one from, I think this one's from Imagine, the plaid, I think. But at any rate, that's where those are derived from. And these are the sides that I intend to use. The other sides are a little bit busier, I guess. I do like the polka dots. We might flip a few pages over. We'll see. And then I also have these borders, which I had punched for another project that I think I'm going to use today. But we are going to do a layered border with a few other items to kind of augment the layered border. So I hope that this will be something fun for you. We are going to, so I have the Fairgrounds, I beg your pardon, this is the Roller Coaster Punch. Yep, this is the roller coaster punch that I already used here. And so I'm not going to actually punch with this today because we've already got these two and that's what I'm going to use. But I wanted to show it to you in case you have this in your stash. You can pull it out and use it. And then we're going to use the Fairgrounds Punch, which it always reminds me of like a Harry Potter world or Universal or medieval times or, you know, that kind of thing because of all the little towers and things. But it is a fun backdrop to layer with this one, and so we're going to just do that today. You can also use this one and this one in the same punched border, which I'll do for you sometime. That way is also fun. But we're just going to do a separate border with this one today. So what I'm going to do is remove the black pages that we will eventually mount our pages onto for a minute. I'm just going to set those to the side. We're going to use this yellow paper here, and we're going to go ahead and punch with the Fairgrounds Punch on either side of this. This is not a directional paper, so we don't have to worry about which side we start on or decide to use. I'm going to just go ahead and punch this border on each side of my paper so that I can trim them both off at the same time. So if you're not familiar with Creative Memories punches, these decorative punches are designed so that you can use them to make a full 12-inch border. Some of them, with a little creativity, can be turned into frame punches. It just depends on how. Oh, I got a little high on that one. Oh God, that was. I need to focus a little bit more on what I'm doing. You start at these two marks on the front. You can start at this one or you can start at this one, depending on which direction you're going to go. That's where the edge of your paper gets lined up and the back gets lined up against the shoulder back here. You punch and then you slide along until the pattern of your punch matches the pattern in the blue field on the wing of the punch. Then you line up the now punched piece over that blue field that it matches and punch again, and just keep sliding across until you get all the way across your piece of paper. I like them because they're easy. These punches are easy on my hands. They don't stress out my joints in any way, which is so nice. Some of the punches that you'll see on the market are very difficult to manage if you have any kind of arthritis or joint problems with your hands, which is no fun. All right, so let's take a look here, and it looks like we've got 1/4 of an inch from the base of our punch to the base of where we trimmed this one off. So that's what I'm going to try to match with this. That means that I'm going to find the lowest point that's punched, which is this point right here, and I'm going to place that on the edge of my gray mat, my cutting mat that's right here. And that is the cutting surface. So I'm just going to cut across there and I will have a matching length. We'll turn this around and I'll do the same thing with this side. Just like that. All right, so that will work for right now. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this paper right here, and this paper we are going to measure and cut. And let me see here, I'm just going to layer these on top of each other and see approximately how high we want to go with the paper that's going to go underneath it. I I think I'm going to raise this up so that it's at the same, the base of this is at the same level as the base cut. And then I'm going to, I want a little bit higher on this end, so that would be 2 inches, and then I want a little bit lower on this end, so that would be 2 1/4. Okay, so let's do 2 1/4, which means I have to measure on the left-hand side, remember, because my trimmer only goes to 1 3/4 on that side. So I'm going to measure to 2 1/4 on the left over here, using my grid lines to make sure my paper is straight. So 2 1/4. I'm going to do 2 of those at 2 1/4. There we go. So those will be my borders that are going to go across the top of my page. Now I wanted to do something a little bit more jazzy down the outsides of the page, and I'm just trying to work out in my brain how I want to do that. I think what I may do is go ahead and pull out my decorative trimmer. We'll get these assembled in just a second. But I think what I'm going to do is pull out my decorative trimmer for a second. Sometimes these thoughts just come to me as I'm putting things together, so I apologize. I didn't have this out beforehand, but I think we're just going to make kind of a couple of lazy ribbons with this, and I'm going to use my wider edge, the wider edge wave to make this kind of what I call a lazy ribbon. So we're going to cut the edge off. I just barely put my edge of my paper over the cut zone on this. Now what I'm going to do is move it over to that first grid line. This corner is going up one to that very first grid line up, and this one also down here, this corner will go up just to that very first grid line. Actually, I think I want it to be just a little bit wider, so I'm going to go up another 1/8 of an inch. So just to there, right? And then we're making a ribbon. Okay, then I'm going to make another ribbon by going up another inch plus, or 1/4 inch plus 1/8, so 3/8 of an inch. And adjusting it to this shoulder is what gives me that offset ribbon-like quality. I'm going to do that twice more. So there's one, and here is number 2. Okay, now we're going to use these to kind of go down the side and just frame our photos just a little bit more. Okay, so setting that trimmer aside, we are going to need some mats, but we'll get to those in just a minute. Let's go ahead and assemble. We're going to assemble these borders, and then we will be able to assemble the page, and then we'll figure out the matting that we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to use my repositionable adhesive. Hopefully it's acting more normal today. It's been kind of not working super well, and I don't know what its deal is. I think maybe a little piece of plastic broke off. I don't know if you're familiar with how this works, but there is a piece in here that I broke. I heard it snap the other day, and this hasn't been acting right since. So let me try a different base and see if I can get this to work the way it is supposed to work. You can see the difference there. This piece right here snapped off, which I'm really bummed about because I really like my green case cover. But I'll have to just learn to live without it, I guess. Nope, that's not working either. Maybe I really do have a problem with this particular thing of adhesive. That's a bummer. I mean, it was almost used up, but still, clearly I have an issue. Okay, 1 second. Let's get a new one. There's something broken. Huh. Oh yeah, there's a piece missing. I broke the actual adhesive runner. All right, well, I've done that before. Just I push too hard sometimes and get too excited, and then I'm done for. All right, so we're just going to line this up and kind of work our way across so that we can keep this at the level we want it at. Like so. Okay. Now we're gonna add some more adhesive, and we'll put it on the red background. And this is going to be roughly 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with this one. All right, those are together. Now we are going to grab, I'm going to grab my black pages. This one will go over here, This one will go here. But before we put those down, I want to go ahead and put our ribbons in place. We're going to do these at a couple of different lengths, so I'm going to grab my scissors. I've got 2 of these for each side, and one of them I'm going to take and I'm going to cut. So use your measuring, whatever measuring system you have, and we're going to make one of the lengths 5 inches and one of the lengths 7 inches. Okay, so we're just going to cut it straight across. There we go. Now we're going to find our, whatever our bottom piece is going to be, and we're going to cut that into a ribbon. You can either make a notch where you go in evenly from each corner and make a section like this. Here, let me show you. Sometimes I fold mine together so that my corners are together, but sometimes on these little itty bitty ones, it's hard to do that. So I just make my cut meet in the center, which is a little easier when you have, you can't really see that very well. There, that's better. A little bit easier when you use the precision cutting scissors. So you can make your ribbon look like this, or you can cut it all the way across and make it look a little bit more like I tend to cut the end of a gift ribbon. It's up to you. Or you can do maybe some of each. Let's see, I'll do this one that way. So I just cut from a corner up about 1/4 of an inch, and it leaves me with a straight cut like this. So one or the other, both of those. Then you're going to want to cut off about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of this one, so that you can do something similar with this one. Just make my cut go the opposite way on that. Okay, so let's do that again. So I'm going to lay one of these ribbons down on my mat here, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right there is where I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to turn one end into a ribbon. We're going to do one going in both ways. The other one will be, let's see, we'll go against the pattern in the paper and cut it long ways like that. And then this one, I'm going to turn the other direction. I'm going to cut about 3/4 to an inch off and just go ahead and cut that one at an angle as well. All right. So these are just meant to kind of give a little bit more of a frame to the page. And we're going to put the ribbons on first so that we can cover the top of them with our border. So I'm just going to add some repositionable adhesive. This is one where your decorative trimmer, if you have one, can be a great asset and decorative tool for you. A lot of fun. Can be a lot of can help you add just a little bit of extra to any page that you're doing. All right. What I might do is go ahead and overlay this. So we'll just move it down just a little and then have this one start in the center and kind of stick out just a little, like that. Then this one, we're going to use our permanent adhesive, just about a 1/2 inch of permanent adhesive in about 5 different places, on both ends, in the center, and halfway in between on both sides is what I do. And then we want to start this in the center at the jeeping with the top edge of the paper. Right at the edge of your page. Or your cardstock if you're building this on a piece of cardstock. All right. So I think I'm happy with that. We may need to add some extra things, but we'll see. We have a lot of lighter colors in the photos we're going to be mounting on here, so I think it'll all work out just fine. Okay. All right, we're going to do something similar with this one, kind of let them be a little bit crazy, a little crisscrossy, which is okay. So you can layer many different borders depending on which ones you like best. I would encourage you to just try different things and see what appeals to you. These two are particularly fun because they're along the same type of theme. So I would say if you're going to layer borders, just try to make sure that your themes are similar and you should be good. All right, now let's take a look at our photos and see how we might want to arrange those. I know we're going to probably want to mat these big ones. I have a couple of 5x7s that I may want to go ahead and mat. We've got a couple of these that sort of tell the story of arriving at this photo place. And then this nice quote from Walt Disney about arriving in California, arriving at Disneyland. And I'm just going to put those kind of layered like that. This is one of the cars from the Ferris wheel, so I felt like that was appropriate to put Emily showing the car on that page. Then we have these photos of us in front of the railroad station with the train, which is kind of nice that it timed that so nicely to arrive. And this is leaving California, Disney California, and heading over to Disneyland. And then this was arriving inside Disneyland. And I think this was the picture of the gate leaving Disney California. I think this was Disney California's gate, which it's not, you know, super necessary. Like I don't absolutely have to have this photo. So if this does not fit on here, I am okay with that. We've got room here to journal, so I think that will be fine. And I'm gonna mat these two photos for sure. Give me just a second to do that and to get these photos adhered, and then we'll talk about some embellishing. And I'm just gonna use, I think I need a little bit more of the gold. We've got a lot of red because of our shirts and the red in the borders that I've added. But I think if I go ahead and just put a small border of gold around each of these, or maybe a small border of gold around this one and red around this one. Let's see. Okay, well, I know I need at least one that's gold, so let's go ahead and cut this. So with a 5x7, I usually just go up depending on how wide you want your border to be. On a 5x7, I try to do a little bit wider border if I can, which would make the photo or the mat 5.5 by 7.5, so that I have a 1/4 of an inch on each side. If you want a smaller border, you can definitely do a smaller border. You can do a bigger one if you want, but I don't really have a lot of room for a lot of more space to be taken up by a mat, so I'm not going to, you know, embellish this a whole lot. I'm just going to give it a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, which I think is a nice way to celebrate the end of this particular phase of our Disney journey. And I do like the gold. I think it picks up, definitely helps pick up the gold in the top. I think we'll just do the other one gold as well. Okay, so that means I just need to leave that arm out, and we'll cut this one at 7.5, and then turn it and cut it at 5.5. All right, so there's that. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get these adhered, and I'll be right back. All right, now I didn't mat this one, or I didn't glue this one in, adhere this one, because I think I would like to mat it. Now, you're saying, well, what in the world are you going to mat it with, since we only have these pieces left, right? But this is actually enough that we could mat this photo. And let me show you how we're going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to one side of my photo, and I'm going to go ahead and place it on here, giving it the same amount of mat that I gave these, or roughly the same, so that I can keep that as even as possible. Now I'm going to bring my trimmer over here. I'm going to just trim off the edge of this, which is actually a square, which is kind of handy. Maybe we'll use that in another layout. here we've got another piece that is the same width as that we can put on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of my photo. Turn this a little, and again just add that 1/4 inch or so of, sorry, trying to make this even, and my eyeball is not assisting me. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and line up this other cut with, oh, that is not, okay, hang on just a second. That cut's not level, so we're going to do this again real quick. Just going to take off my decorative paper here. We're going to line this up and make sure we have a level cut. I don't know why that didn't turn out level, but I must have been leaning or something. Usually with this trimmer, it doesn't matter. Even if you're leaning, you don't get an uneven cut like that, so that's unusual. All right, let's try this one more time. They are certainly having a good time upstairs. I hope they're not too distracting for you on this video, but definitely having fun upstairs, which is not bad. Okay, now what I could do is use this other piece on those two gaps, or I could leave the gaps there, or I could just take this piece and go ahead and cut it in half. And if I cut it in half, then I can go ahead and adhere it and use it on those sides. So I'm going to go ahead and place some adhesive on either side of that gap and a little bit in the middle, just so that I can make sure my paper is staying where I want it. Then I'm just going to line it up with my top and my bottom piece so that it fills that gap. Now, admittedly, this doesn't work as well when you have a much more busy or very specific pattern in your paper. But if you're using solid cardstock or like this paper is has a very subtle texture to it, print to it, then this method works well, and you can get another matted photo without having to cut into another 12 by 12 piece of paper. All right, so now we've accentuated that quote from Disney, and I feel good about that. So we're just gonna put this up here and kind of draw that attention. All right, so now we just need some embellishments. Let me grab my Disney embellishments and see what we can come up with for this. So these are from Imagine That. That arrow might be fun. Give me a second while I search through these. All right, I think I have, what we need to be able to go ahead and do the embellishments for this. So we are going to, I was thinking maybe this would work well in here. The best moments, let me grab my foam squares. And we'll try to get this going here. So I think I'm going to put that right in there for a little bit of a journal box. So let's go ahead and adhere that. We can actually leave that kind of on top if we wanted. So a little bit of a journal box there. I think I want to put these balloons. So when I was a kid and we would go to Disneyland, I remembered those balloons. Do you remember the balloons that were inside of other balloons? I remember those, they had those when I was just little, and I remember that my mom and dad never felt like they had extra money that they could buy those balloons for us, because balloons tend to be a little bit of a I mean, they're not going to last. Like, if you bought a toy or a stuffed animal, that would maybe last a little bit, but balloons don't do that. So I can totally see why that was not going to, be a thing that my mom and dad were interested in doing for us. But at the same time, it was something that I thought would be really, really fun to have. All right, so I'm going to add this guy to the center of this, and then we're going to add the whole gang. This is a sticker, and then I'm going to go ahead and write in there with a marker with the micro tip pen, the CM micro tip pen. If you've seen these, they are super thin. Can you see how thin that is? Really, really, really fine pen. Best moments with the whole gang. There we go. Let's put some adhesive on the back of this. Get this put on. Down here. If I put it there though, I'm not going to be able to journal much. We could scoot it in just a smidge. We don't need to see those guys that are hanging out back there in this picture. There's a couple guys right here. Best moments with the whole gang. Put that right there. Then we can journal a little there. I wanted to use this one more ride, but I don't think it's going to actually work very well in this particular layout. So we may have to use that somewhere else. All right. And I don't know if my arrow will work either. That's okay. I need a little something else down here though. So maybe I will use this after all, even though it's going to end up being on the wrong side. That's okay. If we stuck this right here. Hang on. One moment, please. One moment, please. Let's see. Oh, we could put this cute camera. Say cheese. How about if we do that, even though, well, it's got all the same colors in it, I think it'll be all right. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this guy to this. Say cheese. Just one more picture. I'm going to set this up here, and then underneath it I'm going to write maybe. Guess heaven knows we took a lot of pictures, and there are many more pages to go. So this is adhered, that's adhered. I should be able to pick this page up and not have anything fall off. Let's take a look. Aha, perfect. Okay, well, let me know what you think. I know this was a little bit different, just doing a border with some extra little thingies, different than what I normally do, but I just thought it would be fun. And yeah, it's just another way of adding to your page without distracting too much from your photos. So I hope this has been useful for you and given you some new ideas. And until next time, I hope that you have many more creative moments. Thanks so much for joining me. You take care.